is the Niner Fanatic Podcast. Once again, we're going to talk about today all your 49ers daily news that we saw on the socials, on Twitter, all that good stuff. But before we even get to that, hit the music. Hey, family, what's going on? It is Peter Lucas once again, Niner Fanatic Podcast. Make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications daily for when I go live. But we're going to start off today talking about, and it is a call-in show. If you get I'm going to post the link shortly, but I want to start off with the good news about Brock Purdy. Today, we find out that he is definitely the date he's finally going to get his surgery, February 22nd. It looks like they're going to use the doctor from the Texas Rangers, like from Major League Baseball. But apparently the guy's a specialist, so Brock should be in good hands, and it looks like he's going to be on pace to be back by training camp. So everybody can give a hoosah and just breathe and know that it looks like Brock's going to be okay. It is turning out to be a repair and not a reconstruction. Now, who knows what happens when they actually get in there. They've said in the past that sometimes they don't see everything until they get him open. So but right now we're pretty definitive it's going to be a repair. So don't get too anxious about it. It's not going to be too bad. But I want to know how you guys are all feeling about it. So make sure that you mention it in the chat. What do you think about the Brock Purdy surgery? What do you feel about is training camp, him being back by training camp, enough time to get him ready and be a true competition for with Trey Lance? Because that's what the buzzword is around 49er land right now, is the competition between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. So make sure you hit us up in the chat. Make sure that you let me know that you're out there. And yeah, and once again, I'm about to put that link down in the chat so that you guys can pop in and give me your 2 cents if you feel like jumping on. I do encourage you, because I want to hear what you guys have to say. So with that being said about Brock, let's move on. That news out of the way, let's move on to, this was something that I saw on Twitter earlier today, and I mean, I figured I'd bring it up on the show. So Javon Kinlaw, Brandon Ayuk, 5th-year option. They're eligible for a 5th-year option. What are the 49ers going to do? And if you're in the chat, make sure that you put out there, what do you think they're going to do with Ayuk? I think is a foregone conclusion. I think that Ayuk is definitely, they're going to exercise that 5th-year option, because it doesn't make sense for them not to. The guy is obviously a stud. He's obviously everything that we've been waiting to see from him, and it's going to be, I think that's a foregone conclusion, basically. But Javon Kinlaw, on the other hand, do you think he deserves to get, and when I say deserves, that's a bad word for it. Do we think that they will exercise that 5th-year option for Kinlaw? I would say not. But let me know in the chat how you feel about it. I just don't see it. I don't see it. He can't stay healthy. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. And I know that a lot of people out there don't like Grant, but it seems like he was right about this one. It is what it is. A 300-pound man that with bad knees is not gonna, with arthritic knees at that, is it's not gonna work out well 9 times out of 10. And I think that obviously they're gonna let him play through his season this year, because I think they say like by cutting him, it doesn't even make sense. Like they're only gonna save like a little bit of money, but and then they'd be paying out a pretty good sum. But yeah, what do you guys think about it? I really feel like Javon Kinlaw worked really hard to get back, and then it was just a whole bunch of nothing since he came. Like I don't think a lot of people knew that he even came back. In the NFC Championship game, he was getting blown off the ball, and their offensive line was just kind of throwing him around. Which I mean, a guy that big, he did. We all heard about. He lost some weight coming off of his injury, and actually before the season even started, he had lost some weight. He had gotten down to like 292 pounds. Uh, Basically trying to, I guess, lighten the load, but I think that also the same thing happened to Mike McGlinchey. It wasn't this past season. It was the season before, I believe. He lost a bunch of weight going into camp, thinking lightening the load, getting quicker to but it didn't work out for him either. He lost a bunch of power and he was getting blown off the ball. Same thing. So Javon Kinlaw, yeah, like I said, I just don't see it. I think that I think that they're going to let his contract run out. They'll let him sign with whoever after, if anybody does sign him. And he's not terrible, but I mean, he's not worth keeping around for when you can probably draft somebody or sign of another veteran that can take up that spot there. Because what really needs to happen, in my opinion, is they need to solidify that position. And the only way you're going to do it, you can't be having Kinlaw out there getting a bunch of snaps if you want to solidify the position. There's a few different positions that I'd like to see them solidify. I know I was talking with a few guys this morning about the defensive end spot, and the defensive end spot, like there's a few guys like they're talking about that. What's his name from the Chargers? The Khalil Mack is about to he's probably going to be a cap casualty, and the thing about that is, I mean, do they do that? I mean, he's 32. He's going to be about to be 32. Like they could probably get him for cheap. The 49ers could probably get him for cheaper. I know that there's a few other there's a lot of edge prospects out there actually that are free agents this offseason. But the guys that I'm seeing that are probably more viable for the 49ers, I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there. But I mean, I think Khalil Mack could be affordable for them. Unless you want to just bring back Ebicom, I don't see a point in bringing back Ebicom in my estimation. He's probably still going to cost about 6-7 million a year, and for what? For what? He didn't really do. I know he had I believe he had 6 sacks this year, but his season was kind of forgettable in my opinion, and I think that they could try something else. Let's move in a new direction. But yeah, I would kick the tires on, if I was them. I would kick the tires on Khalil Mack. I know that there's and Ngakoue is out there from the Colts, and he's a guy that I think would fit in really well with the scheme. But he's going to be 27, and he's going to cost a lot more than a Khalil Mack in a 32-year-old Khalil Mack, in my opinion. But let's see if that's the case. I'm not confident that the 49ers are going to go after either one. It's just something to think about. Something that when we're looking for these extra players to put on the other side of Bosa, I know the 49ers are still searching for that guy. Drake Jackson could be that guy. He'll be going into his second year, and I know that when we look at the 49ers and that the fact that they develop guys well, and especially Chris Kasurek. I know that the complaint about him this past season was that he didn't really hold the edge in the run game, and that was why he kind of Kyle basically said he hit the rookie wall. But is is he going to be enough? Is he going to be ready? I think that if they don't go after anybody in free agency, I think that's going to tell you right there. Now they have a bunch of their own free agents. Kerry Hyder's a free agent. Uh, like we talked about, Ebicom's a free agent. There's basically all of them are free agents, but it just comes down to do you are you okay with Drake Jackson and maybe just bringing in some of the other guys like Kerry Hyder and a couple of veteran guys just to kind of like put in the rotation. I think that might be the way that they end up going, but let's get down to the real reason why we called this pod today, which is the Trey Lance interview with Rich Eisen. The Rich Eisen interviewed Trey Lance today for at the Super Bowl, and he was really talking to him about how he felt this season and what like he asked him a bunch of questions, but the ones that stuck out to me were he asked him, what were you doing throughout the year, and what stuck out to me was that Trey was really looking to contribute somehow, even though he couldn't contribute on the field, and he didn't feel like he could contribute to like when Jimmy Garoppolo was out there. He felt like he could help with Purdy and getting him ready to play. And I thought that was very, very leadership. That showed a lot of leadership and showed a lot of, I mean, he's got to do something. I'm sure he felt helpless, a little helpless. And I just think that it was kudos to him with Purdy playing so well and him admitting that Purdy played so well, didn't seem to be phased by it at all. Like was almost sounded proud of him. And I mean, that speaks to his character. If that, not many guys out there are going to cheer on the guy that could be replacing them. And we heard that Trey Lance say that, hey, I'm fully expecting a competition in this offseason. So this is going to be a good competition. I mean, I think it's going to be a good competition because it sounds to me like Trey is already getting in the lab. I think that we're going to see the best Trey Lance, even though we haven't seen much of Trey Lance at all. I think that we're going to see a better Trey Lance in this offseason. I think that Brock Purdy, it's the job isn't just going to be Brock Purdy's out the gate. I think that he's going to have a competition on his hands, especially considering he won't be in the program until training camp. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. But another thing I was interested with that Trey Lance interview is that it was nice to hear him be competitive. You heard Fred Warner in the offseason kind of chirping about how he likes to get under Trey's skin, and you heard it in the about when they were covering that, when the guys were covering the guys and girls were covering the offseason and the training camp and all the other stuff, that Fred Warner was trying to get under the skin of the quarterbacks, and it looked like Trey Lance was wanting to get under Fred's skin and get right back at him. It sounded like a challenge to me, Fred. So I mean, you better come with your best. You better come with your best in this. Well, he said he doesn't go to OTAs. So, but in this training camp, I think that Trey said that he's ready to whoop on this defense, and I want to see it. I'm ready to see it. Because if he comes out on fire, and with the confidence, it's all about the confidence and the confidence in what he's seeing. Is he aggressive? Like that, if he comes out aggressive, I think that we could be seeing a completely different Trey Lance, and that could. I don't want to build up the hype any more than it already is. But yeah, I mean, it could be some more hype. I mean, the 49ers do a good job of driving up hype by themselves without any help from us, you know. But I just the other part that it interested me in the Trey Lance interview was how he was talking about Christian McCaffrey. Like it seems like they gather like to the Super Bowl, and maybe he just traveled with the whole team. But the way I looked at that is him just talking about Christian McCaffrey, being excited about him being his teammate. I really think that that is a good sign that he's trying to pick McCaffrey's brain, trying to build some chemistry with McCaffrey, because he knows he needs those veterans. He needs those veterans, and he needs those guys to talk to him, like to support him, because those guys have Purdy's support, or I mean, have the support of Purdy. It's Purdy's already had a chance to show up and show out. It was unfortunate what happened in the NFC Championship game, but up till that point, Purdy had been balling out. And so he doesn't really have to prove anything. He just has to prove he's healthy and that he can continue what he was doing last year. Trade still has to prove that he can run this offense and take control of this offense. Now, I hope that Trey gets an honest chance to do that, and that he gets a similar game plan so that we can see what's really what, and do a fair comparison, because that's the key for Lance, in my opinion. But with that being said, there was one more thing, and I did want to mention about, you know, a lot of people are still talking down about Shanahan, and shit, like, we're not really talking about the play anymore now that we're actually in the Super Bowl. But it's people are still questioning whether Shanahan is the guy, and I don't understand it. I'll be perfectly honest with you. In my opinion, Shanahan is the best option. I don't think that it's even a question of if he is. We all just want him to learn at this point. But you saw a few of the guys like Jason Aponte, Jordan Elliott, like interviewing guys at the Super Bowl, and it was kind of cool. I want to mention that the Brandon Graham interview by Josina Anderson. I mean, she tried to be slick. She tried to be slick and tried to ask him a question in a weird, and framed the question really weird. It was just weird. The way she said it, where basically she was acting like Brandon Ayuk was talking mess, when the reality was is he was asked a question by Brad Graham, and like about the Eagles, and about how he felt about if they would have won if they were healthy, and he answered the question. But Anderson tried to say that the 49ers were still chirping about how it's not fair and complaining. But I thought Graham did a excellent job of deflecting and just basically telling it how it is that the fact is, that's football. That's football. It happens. It's happened to them. So it's not that we expect them to feel sorry for us. We don't. We don't. But what I will say is that uh, I applaud him for not throwing shade where there didn't need to be any, and because I don't think that Brandon Ayuk had anything, but there was anything malicious in what he was saying. Like he just feels confident in his team. He feels that the 49ers are the best team, and on paper, I would agree with him. I would agree with him. I think that on paper, the 49ers, top to bottom, have the best roster in the NFL. I agree. Unfortunately, you can't really prove that because they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. It is what it is. It's football. The best team doesn't always win. That's I mean, that's sports in general. The best team doesn't all win. It's injuries are a part of the game, and even if they weren't injured, underdogs sometimes get the win. So it is what it is. But it looks like we're not going to have anybody join today, like for the call-in show. but I did want to get those takes off for today. I'm gonna be on again tomorrow, talking about whatever things that I see on in the news and in the what is it doing? Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about anything that I see in the news and on Twitter and on the socials in general. But appreciate I do see there's some people watching. Like appreciate you for coming through. Like appreciate you for supporting the channel. Make sure that you give this video a like, that you give us a comment, give us a share. Make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that I'm gonna be back again tomorrow, and but that way we can be friends every day. And once again, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, I am on Facebook, as well as anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. Just in case you don't want to, great, you can listen to the audio version and then yeah, listen to the audio version. And then of course, I don't care where you get it, you just get it. And but appreciate you guys for coming through. I'm gonna get out of here. Made some pretty nice enchiladas that are waiting for me. And but you guys have a great day. And as always, go Niners.